Okay, so just to set the stage really quick. Okay, just set the stage really quick. Aysenur was a American who went to the occupied West Bank with the International Solidarity Movement, the same movement that took Rachel Corrie there to protest illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. She was shot in the head by an Israeli sniper while there was no clashes. So you'll see that in the media a lot. It's a lie. They keep saying, oh, well, there was clashes. There was clashes between her and the IOF or her group. No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't. All the reports from eyewitnesses on the ground said that they were just standing there. They were just standing there peacefully, just like protesting by standing there. They didn't do anything, and she got targeted. So, oh my gosh, my jaw hurts from talking. From talking a lot. I have a TMJ, so it hurts a lot. Anyway, so she got killed by the Israeli regime, by an Israeli sniper. And wouldn't you know, our garbage, psycho, ghoulish State Department officials came out to make excuses for it. Joe Biden, our president, wasn't it Joe Biden that said, if you harm a hair on an American citizen's head, you will have hell to pay? I'm pretty sure that was Joe Biden that said that. If you harm a hair on the American citizen's head, you will have hell to pay. Huh. He hasn't put out a statement about her. He hasn't called her family. Kamala Harris has not put out a statement against her. About her, hasn't contacted her family. So no statement from our president who said, if you harm an American citizen, you'll have hell to pay. We will respond. That's what he said. Sorry. He said, we will respond. So no statement from him, no statement from Kamala Harris. And then when being asked about it, because so far who's been asked about it has been the State Department and Antony Blinken in the State Department and this gargoyle today. So this is what this piece of shit, the same John Kirby that cried over Ukrainian children, but couldn't cry over Palestinian children. Here's him making excuses and tripping all over himself when asked about Aysenur today.
Made sure that we knew.
The American citizen who was killed in the West Bank on Friday, Aysenur Ezgi, has the president had a chance to speak to her family at all? And do you have any sense of where the investigation stands? I know that you all had asked for the ball to get rolling on an investigation to her death. Do you know if there are any updates on that?
He has not spoken to the family as of yet. I don't
Why?
have a call to talk about today. Obviously, we continue to mourn with her family, of course. The Israelis have reached out, made sure that we knew, that they were promptly investigating this. As I understand it from just before I came out here, they are moving swiftly on this investigation and will soon, we think, in coming days, be able to present their findings and conclusions. We'll obviously hold our judgment until we see that. We've called for a complete, thorough, swift, and transparent investigation. We'll see.
The American citizen was killed in the West Bank on Friday.
I have a lot of faith that the Israeli regime that killed Shireen Abu Akleh, that killed Rachel Corrie, that killed 2 unarmed American Palestinians in the occupied West Bank just this last year, and none of them ever had justice. Oh, yeah. And they all found no wrongdoing. There's never any wrongdoing. It's really weird. I have a lot of faith that they're going to do a thorough, honest, transparent, and complete investigation. Like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. No, there needs to be an independent investigation. Okay? There needs to be an independent investigation. Also, she died like 3 days ago. She was killed. She was murdered 3 days ago. You still haven't said anything about it? You still haven't called her family, her parents? Yeah, what? It's so funny because they're always doing these quote unquote independent investigations that you never hear about again until they absolve themselves, of course. Of course. They're always investigating it And then you don't hear anything about it until they come out and say, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. The racism doesn't process in my brain. I legitimately don't understand seeing. It's not virtue signaling. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that most people do. I think that most people, even who hold racial biases, at least this has been my experience with humans in my time on this planet, even people with racial biases or who are racist, a lot of times, like, they still will have empathy for children. Not always. There are obviously some racists who don't. You see that in like the Tamir Rice case, where Tamir Rice was an innocent 12-year-old boy who was killed by a police officer while holding a toy gun. And I didn't see a huge, well, that's not true. There were people that protested it, but there was not nearly enough. And my assumption is that it's because people didn't care. They didn't, even though Tamir Rice was this adorable little boy. I don't understand it either. When I see a child or even an adult that's innocent that gets killed, it's horrifying. It's horrifying. He's such a creep. He's such a weasel. Yeah, and we're supposed to believe that the Israeli regime is going to investigate itself. And the fact that they haven't even called them, like, remember, guys, when the hostage that was recently killed, his name came out, the one who had spent his whole life in Israel, but he's American too, like a lot of them, Americans who basically just like moved to Israel. That, although I think he might have been born there, but still, nonetheless, Biden put out a statement. Kamala Harris put out a statement. The State Department condemned it and said there was going to be consequences for it. Where's the condemnation? Kirby? John Kirby? Where is the condemnation of this assassination? I haven't seen it. Where are all the, but do you condemn Hamas people? Why aren't you condemning this? Where's the condemnation from Antony Blinken? Where's the condemnation from Joe Biden? Where are the statements? Where? And then you have this ghoul. So I forget what this asshole's name is. Do you condemn, somebody asked, a reporter asked, do you condemn the actual act of killing an American citizen protesting the aggression of the Israeli occupation army? Patel, I guess Patel's his last name. I don't know his first name. The death of any American is heartbreaking. Insane.
But let's be just very Said, go ahead.
Thank you, Vedant.
Yeah.
Do you actually condemn the actual act of killing an American citizen protesting, the aggression of, let's say, the Israeli occupation army? Do you condemn the act of the killing itself? Do you condemn that act?
Let's just be very clear.
Yes,
of
easy,
course,
yes.
We would condemn the death. The death of any American citizen is heartbreaking. But let's be just very precise and clear that I am not going to speculate on what
I'm not going to speculate on what transpired. And I'm also not going to do an investigation. We're not going to speculate on what transpired. And we're also not going to do an independent investigation. We're just going to trust the liars over in the Israeli regime that get caught lying all the time. We're going to trust them to investigate themselves. I want you guys to understand this, okay? If you are watching this and you are an American, the government doesn't give a shit if you get killed by the Israeli regime. Our government, the United States government, he just made that very clear. Very clear. If you get killed, despite the fact that Joe Biden said that if you harm the hair of an American's head, there will be consequences. Unless he should have put an asterisk next to that. He should have put an asterisk next to that. Unless If you harm a hair on an American citizen's head, there will be consequences, asterisks, unless the American is killed by the Israeli regime. Then it's cool. Then it's just sad. It's kind of a tragedy, you know? Kind of sad. Kind of a tragedy. Not condemnable, though. There won't be consequences. There won't be accountability. There won't even really be a condemnation. So just know that, if you're an American, just know that if you get killed by the Israeli regime for any reason, there will be no justice for you from our government. Our government does not care.
Fired on Friday, as those facts and those processes are still being determined and adjudicated, and we're going to let that process play out. It is troubling, it is tragic, and it's certainly there is a responsibility here to share as much information as possible, so that Miss Eygi's family has the most appropriate accounting of what exactly transpired and what happened here. But Saeed, there is a process, and I'm just not going to get ahead of that. And I will, I'm not going to speak on behalf of our partners in Israel.
Actually, condemn the act of the killing, the murder of an American citizen.
Of course, Saeed, the murder of any American citizen, we would take issue with.
Oh, okay. So let me.
What do you know? Wow. Wow. It's just insane. It's literally insane. That's just wild. Yeah, it's interesting to think about how if now you're watching this, you know exactly how it's going to play out. They're going to do a fake investigation. They're going to say there was no wrongdoing. They're going to say it was an accident like they did about Shireen Abu Akleh, and there will be no justice for her family. Not only will she not get justice, they won't even condemn it. They won't even condemn it. It's just crazy to think about. I feel so horrible for her family. And Joe Biden didn't even call them to like say, I'm sorry that you lost your daughter. I send you my condolences. I think that most people know that something is very sus there. And that for me personally, and I think a lot of other people feel this way too, that it was not an accident. How do you accidentally snipe someone in the head? I think it's interesting too that conservatives haven't spoken out about that, about this, because they claim to be such patriots. Where you be? Where are all you so-called America Firsters? Yeah, I want to know why all the America Firsters are being so quiet. I thought you loved this country. I thought it was America first. Or do you just like people who agree with you and you don't care if an American gets killed so long as, you know, I don't know, they're a lib or a leftist or a communist or whatever, then you don't care.